Hello, in this video we will discuss very briefly the history of Hadoop. This is Hassan Mir from 0toprotraining.com. So from the previous videos we understand that Hadoop is a set of tools and the objective is to support running of applications on big data. So let's find out from very high level what happened in history that led to the creation of Hadoop. If you look at the architecture of Hadoop from a very high level, we have a MapReduce that consists of job tracker at master node and task trackers at the slave nodes, and the file system known as Hadoop file system consists of name node at the master computer and data nodes at slaves. It very closely resembles what Google has. Google has Google file system known as GFS and MapReduce. Why is that? Why is Hadoop architecture is very similar to what Google uses? So there is a story behind that. In 1990s, how would you search for something on the web? You will choose one of your favorite search engines. That could be Excite, AltaVista, Lycos, or InfoSeek, or maybe some other, and you will do a search. Or maybe you will use a tool that will do a search on all these search engines and will give you a combined result. So this is how the search looked like in 1990s. Then something happened. Then Google came into the picture, and before we knew it, it was suddenly #1 search engine just by the word of mouth. People start using Google and they start telling each other Google is the best search engine that works for them. In 2000s, Excite, AltaVista, Lycos, InfoSeek, they all died, and only Google remained there, and new meaning to the word Google was added to the dictionary, meaning searching on the web. So that is the culmination of a monopoly when you say Google it on the web rather than saying search it on the web. But why did that happen? How come Google achieved that kind of victory? So behind the Google's victory were the two technology pieces, MapReduce and the Google file system. So Google would have tons of computers on their data center, and the big data that Google deals with will be broken down into smaller equal pieces, and each piece will be sent to a different computer, and there will be a master node that will have information, that will keep information on which data is residing on which computer, and applications can connect to that master node to find out where the data is residing. So this was the central idea behind Google's innovation to create a distributed file system. Dividing the data into smaller pieces and sending each piece to a different computer is part of the story. The real strength comes from the tool they developed called MapReduce. As the name suggests, MapReduce will take the high-level task or computation and it will break it down into pieces, and it will send each piece to the same computer where the piece of data is sitting. So instead of performing one big computation on one big data, a smaller computation will be performed on each small piece of data. And finally, the result from each smaller computation will be gathered and will be aggregated, and this will be the answer to the query. So this will result into much faster performance as compared to dealing with the big data directly. This was the technology and innovation that Google came up to win the battle of search engines. However, in 2003, Google released a paper on Google file system, and this is the first time they told the world how they are maintaining the data using GFS or Google file system. Knowing about Google file system was part of the story that did not quench the thirst, because the world did not know yet how Google is dealing with the computations. In 2004, Google released another papers, and this time they told the world how they are using MapReduce to perform processing on big data. So this was the first time the world came to realize how Google is doing what they are doing. In 2005, Doug Cutting and Michael Cafarella were working for Yahoo, and they got very interested in the papers that were released by Google in 2003 and 2004. They started reading the papers and they started creating something based on that paper. And Hadoop was born as a result. So the year of birth for Hadoop would be 2005, but the technology behind Hadoop was created way before by Google and released to the world in 2003 and 2004. Yahoo started creating a search engine, and it was called Nudge Search Engine Project in 2005, and to support that project a similar technology was required that Google was using, and hence Doug Cutting and Michael Cafarella created something out of those papers, and it was named Hadoop. The name Hadoop is indeed strange, and it was the name of a toy elephant that Doug's son used to play with, and in fact it was Doug's son that invented that name and gave to the toy elephant, and it was borrowed by Doug for his project. In 2006, Yahoo donated the Hadoop project to Apache. This is how Apache came into the picture. So the idea was invented by Google, and the product was created by Google as well, and based on their papers Yahoo created the product, and it was then handed over to Apache.